What is the point of life? See, this is a question that has been around who knows how many years. It seems to be several different answers, depending on which religion you follow, or philosophy, if you will, to this, to answer this question. But there's a more obvious one that goes beyond what happens after we die. How was the world created? It's a very obvious one. And everything first starts with you. The purpose of this life is to experience it. You see? You experience it. You experience it in this body. Your mind in itself operates like a computer. It just stores the information of things that you may encounter. And these things are picked up by our senses. Everything that you see, hear, smell, taste, feel. But the thing is that it seems like people are using these things the wrong way. So therefore, it makes it harder for them to see what is obvious. See, people in this life seem to live based upon the pleasures of their body, which there's nothing wrong with indulging in, seeking pleasure. I mean, that is part of it. While you are here, that's something that you do. You can't completely abstain from it. But at the same time, you can't be overly powered by these desires that we have. Because when we do that, then we become confused about what our purpose is. When we start dealing in our emotions, our feelings, and we sit back and ask ourselves, what is the purpose of me being here? I think everybody, well, let me not say everybody, let me just say there's some people who, in their mind, will envision something great, like, being a king, being the next president, being the world's biggest hero. You take your pick. There's many different ways you can go with that. And, we spend our time going through this. Some people just think it's an accomplishment of attaining a material possession. And then once that's accomplished, life in itself seems like it's worth, like, what's the point of all of this? I did this, now what's next? So then we're looking to see what else we can accomplish as far as obtaining material things. And then there are those that go a whole nother way. They choose more of a spiritual path, and they believe the purpose of life is to follow a certain religion, adhere to that religion, follow all the rules, and live by the philosophy of that religion. And you can get absorbed in that. Don't get me wrong, I can kind of see the purpose of religion and originally why it was introduced to us. It was introduced to us in a way where it justified us having rules. Rules which in turn help govern a society. Because without these rules, then a society couldn't exist. I mean, I understand that people say, I'm going to be independent. But in all reality, if you really look at it, you got to ask yourself this one question: independent from what? From what? Because you have to rely on people no matter what, because that's the way we are created, in a way where we have to be dependent on things. If you start a business, you have to depend on people to come there or to purchase whatever it is that you might be offering, whether it be a service, whether it be material things. But you still have to be dependent on people. In order for a community to exist, each and every individual there has to adhere to certain laws, and is dependent upon whether or not we can follow the laws. And if you have people that can't follow the law, then you have to rely on law enforcement or other means to establish order. Because without these things, it don't exist, right? But what's happened is over the years we've become detached and we've moved further and further from what the truth is. And it's a really obvious one. You know, if you look at nature, it's like so many of the answers that we have about life is found in nature. If you can open your eyes to that. You know, more and more we're moving further away from nature and we're creating this whole other separate existence where we rely on computers, air conditioning, cars, all these other things, you know, and move further and further away because we probably look back at that as being things of the past, things of ignorance, and we don't realize that the answer lies right here, you know. In nature, you know, it was always so much more quiet, you know, it was so much easier to think. Now it's like, how hard is it to actually think and focus on things? You know, because there's always so much that is required of us to live in this particular existence, which is a man-made one, you know. If you look beyond that existence, you will realize there's something that's been there way before any of this. As far as houses, cars, technology, there was something that was always been there, you know. And in that is where you will find the answers to a lot of these questions that trouble us. Oh, you know, like the purpose of life. Quite simply put, what is the purpose of life? Well, let's look at a tree. You know, it starts out as a seed, it grows up, leaves come out, and somehow another seed is dropped, and whether it be through fruit or otherwise, it goes back into the ground, and the process starts all over again. Our purpose here is to keep our species going on some level, whether it be by reproducing or whether it be by presenting ideas which are helpful to humanity so that humanity in itself can continue to exist. And maybe that doesn't sound like the ideas that some of us have or the purpose that we may seek out to say this is our purpose. You know, we're admired by, you know, many people. But it's very simple. It's right in front of you. You know, we have to preserve humanity. We have to preserve the planet and the inhabitants, whether it be plants or animals. Because when that is disrupted, where do we find ourselves? When you, as an individual, or as a group, engage in things which are destructive to humanity, you're outside of the purpose. You see? Because we're destroying our own species by these particular acts or ideologies or whatever it is that drives these actions. So, in short, the purpose of life is simple. It's for you to contribute your part while you are here to keep humanity going. That is it. And quite frankly, I don't think that's really a bad thing. Now, in the process of life, many of us might achieve certain things and reach certain different levels, but at the end, we go forward with a responsibility, which we are all born with, and that's to continue our survival. That's basically it.